Welcome to You Don't Know Ball. Today we're going to be discussing the winners and losers of free agency so far. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, let us know your favorite winner and favorite loser from free agency. Well, I don't know if they'd be your favorite loser, but the biggest loser in free agency in the comments. Leave a like, and we are going to just start off with our winners list. We're going to kind of just discuss kind of like our biggest winners, and then we'll talk about just kind of other winners, whether they won a little bit or it's just an improvement to the team, good contract, things like that. So, Dobbs, I think we should start out with the big domino to fall. I have as a winner Kirk Cousins. Where do you have him listed on your? Do you have him a winner? Do you have him a
Oh, well,
loser?
I got him a winner, bro. I was just say, yeah, no, I didn't like rank him or anything, but I got him as a winner, bro, and there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for me is like there was a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans like bitching and moaning about the length of the deal, but realistically, Kirk Cousins has been playing the best ball of his career. And my question to you, Atlanta Falcons fans, is who is your other quarterback? Like, who would have been your guy had you not signed Kirk? Because you're gonna have to go get JJ because you're not getting into that top three.
Yeah, no, this is the thing, bro. I do think though, like let's be real for a sec. This is what I've been saying. It only adds up now more than ever. I think JJ McCarthy is a Viking. Like I'm not even just saying that for headlines and none of that. You know how I am, bro. Like the reality is, because this is where I stand. Sam Darnold is not back like to the Vikings thing. Sam Darnold, I don't think is the Vikings guy. I think he's the bridge guy, right? Where they
Yeah,
signed him to hold over. But then, and like we are saying with Kirk, well, Kirk leaves, and I don't think Vikings fans are making a huge deal of it. Look, the reality of the situation is Vikings fans, now you guys just move on from, as we've always said, Kirk is a great guy. But we've always said, is Kirk the guy that's going to lead you to the promised land? You know what I mean? Like, at least if you're the Vikings now, you know, okay, look, if you, because I'm not falling for the whole Sam Darnold is the guy thing. If anything,
no.
he's the guy for a year. You're going to let JJ sit. But everybody's making a big deal out of nothing right now, bro. Like, everyone's panicking. Like, I think this works out best for the Falcons and the Vikings because he's going to a great core in the Falcons. There's no doubt about that, bro.
I just think also, I think this is a winner in terms of the draft because they don't have to use capital to move up. They also, another winner on my list that we can jump to right away and kind of keep this discussion moving is getting Darnell Mooney on a 3-year, $39 million deal. I think Darnell Mooney is going to be a great addition to the Atlanta Falcons. There's a lot of Bears fans who are very happy to see him go, and I don't think they understand how actually good Darnell Mooney is. And if you have a quarterback that can't get him the ball because he can't go through his progressions and can't get his reads done, bro, he's never and people saying like, oh, like, he had one great season, but every other season they asked him to be a besides this year, they asked him to be a number one receiver, and he is not a number one receiver. Like Juju was good as a number two. Darnell Mooney will be good as a number two or three next to Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Like Darnell Mooney gets open. He is a good wide receiver and he will excel with Kirk Cousins. I think it was a great signing for Atlanta, which also doesn't put them in position where they have to go wide receiver at 8.
No, yeah, and everyone's like panicking about the number for how much it is a season. I think everyone also has to realize, bro, the reality situation is nowadays the receiver market is one of those positions that's becoming a very high premium position, and the price is just going up for receivers. Like you want to land the guy, you're gonna have to start spending more. That's how receivers have been, and it's how it's going to continue to be.
Yeah. So I think, the Falcons have done relatively well for themselves. I've heard reports that they're in on Daniil Hunter. If they're able to swing Daniil Hunter, I think they
Please
are.
no.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
mean, as
I'm
an NFC
telling you,
South
bro.
guy, yeah.
NFC South, yeah, it's going to be scary over there because I'm already a little concerned about the Falcons as a Saints fan. You know how I feel about this right now.
Well, I think Kirk Cousins easily makes them the favorite in that division. I think also we don't have to talk about this one too much because it was kind of a re-signing, but I think the Bucks getting Baker Mayfield on like a mid-tier deal was really a winner. Like if he was commanding 40,
Dude, he was
45
one of my he was
million.
my biggest winner, I think I was
Oh,
gonna
okay.
say. Like, no
So let's talk
lie.
about that then. Go ahead.
Well, because if you put it, to put it in perspective, and I'm sure every NFC South fan would agree with you on this one. When I saw, or most at least, when I saw Baker coming in, again, no hate on Baker. I just figured he was on the downturn. The injuries had kind of, he wasn't the same guy he was when he was at his peak on the Browns, and that second year, and it was like, oh, Baker's really coming to his own. Thought he was gonna, it was just a fluke on the Rams. No, he came in. What he went from what a 2 million a year salary to what is that? It's going to be roughly like
It's like 33 a year, pretty
33.
much.
They
Yeah,
had
something like
33 a
that.
year. So I mean, that has to. I mean, if we're talking about the biggest winner, like I said, I didn't rank them, but just genuinely speaking, just from like going from one pay to another. I mean, bro, the $31 million raise is in one season is something crazy. And not that again, obviously he was getting good money as a rookie, first overall pick, but he really never got like that big deal. So now you got to be happy for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think also like staying, I think once the Mike Evans deal got signed, it was kind of like written that Baker Mayfield was going to stay because why are you keeping Baker? Why are you keeping Mike if you're not going to keep Baker and you don't have an option? Um,
No, for sure.
Another quarterback domino that we saw fall was Russell Wilson to the Steelers. So I was kind of debating on whether this was a winner or a loser. I think it is a winner in terms of what you can get out of your team this year, but obviously Russ on a $1.2 million deal is great value, whether he's a backup or a starter, obviously with all his experience. My thing is, if you only have Russ for 1 year and you roll with Russ as your starter this year, and then you have Kenny Pickett go next year, I don't necessarily know how much better Kenny Pickett is going to get in a year under Russ. And it kind of somewhat feels like a stopgap. So, in terms of value for the position and what you can get out of your team this year, it is a win. But for the future, I don't necessarily know how much of a win this is.
No, I'm right there with you. I was going to say it kind of just feels to me again as the Saints fan here. This is kind of like what the Saints did with Carr. It's kind of like we really should just hit a hard reset and like just start fresh. Younger QB because as we know, I don't, or at least again, younger QB give I because I'm not on the Kenny Bridge train. Like that's what they're trying to do. I don't know if I think that's the move either. Like I get what they're trying to do to your point. Like again, just bridge him with Russ, but then also it's like I just don't really see the vision with it. I'll say this though. The $1.2 million deal for him is crazy. It is great value. If it ends up working out, then you ended up taking a swing where you didn't have to spend anything and it was a great, it's great success. So I don't mind it because the money. But I just feel like I don't really personally see the direction in terms of going to win the Lombardi with this route. You know what I mean? That's right. And
No,
that's what we always talk about. It's like you're either going for it all or what are you going for? And I don't know. It just the Steelers. It kind of feels like everything would have to fall perfectly for this team to go right with Russ to go win the Lombardi. I mean, this doesn't. How much does that elevate them?
I mean,
More than anything.
I think they're another 9-18, maybe 10-7. Like I don't know, man. Like Arthur Smith is all about throwing over the middle. We know Russ doesn't throw over the middle, so it's like, what are you doing? I don't think it's
At
I
least
don't know.
Najee's fantasy value went up for me.
I like this pick. I like this for this year. I don't know about the future. So
Yeah.
let's move into our running backs. Do you have any other quarterbacks that are winners?
Well, give me 1 sec here, and I'll be able to tell you. I will say Jameis. I think Jameis might be a bit of a winner, bro. I'll say Jameis going to the Browns on the 1 year deal. That's fantastic backup value. If Deshaun doesn't play a game or two, great chance to show himself. And I just love Jameis. I'm a homer for
I
Jameis.
love Jameis too.
I also think
Yeah.
he provides fantastic backup value.
I also think Drew Lock to the Giants and Tyrod Taylor to the Jets are good wins for backups. I think they're good backups there. Someone you can rely on if your starter goes down and you need to spot win a game. I think they can do that.
And also another huge winner. How can we forget about Gardner Minshew?
Oh
Is he the
yeah.
starter? I don't know. He's probably the bridge guy.
But
But
for that
regardless,
bag,
making more money.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, hey, the pay rate went up. This is the first time I think he's gotten a bag like this. I actually know it's the first time he's gotten a bag like this. I'm happy for Gardner. Always been one of my guys on the low. Like, I'm happy for you, Gardner.
And also, I think he fits that kind of like Raider way that they want in Las Vegas.
No,
Um,
for sure. That for sure.
so let's move into our running backs for our winners. So one that I kind of want to start off with, just because it is not technically a free agency signing, the Texans getting Joe Mixon for a 7. It seemed like they were kind of in the top running back market. They didn't really get the guys that they wanted. They probably weren't willing to pay, which I understand. I get it. But to get Joe Mixon, I think it's like 5 or 6 mil a year for a seventh, you can't complain. Joe Mixon on the Texans definitely raises that floor.
No, for sure. You know what? That was definitely a move that again they don't need a ton. What they showed us last year, they're not even built the way they want to be built. Still competing. That's definitely a move where you'll take it all day long. Whether it's depth, whether he's going to be taking most of the snaps, it doesn't matter. You'll take Joe Mixon on your team any day.
I agree. Now Derrick Henry to the Ravens, probably one of the biggest winners. I think there's two huge winners in the running back market. And I think Derrick Henry to the Ravens on a 2 year, $16 million deal is huge. I think that makes their run game. They have not had like really an alpha running back one in their backfield in a long time. I know a lot of people were high on J.K. Dobbins, but he could not stay healthy. And I think Derrick Henry adds a whole new element to that offense.
Oh, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Like, no, it's like, all I was gonna say too is, could we see him go for like 18 touchdowns next year?
I think it's very possible. I mean, imagine like you run like I know it's not like I guess Henry's bread and butter, but running some RPOs with like Keaton Mitchell and then you have Derrick Henry like with that backfield, Keaton Mitchell, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, it is scary. And in my opinion, that is the most like thunder and lightning backfield that you're gonna get in the NFL.
Oh, that's no, that like the Ravens are going for it all as if we didn't already know this. But now I think this really adds an element where it's like, man, the Ravens are scary.
All right, another winner. We have Saquon Barkley with the Eagles. Giants fans, I know they are hurting after going to a division rival. And I guess my thing is with the Eagles is I think it's a win because if their line is able to be any bit what they've been these last 2 years, Barkley, like Swift did last year, is going to have a great year. We saw what Barkley did behind a horrendous Giants O line. And with what he can do, and like, for example, like 3 years, really $37.75 million deal, it's doable. It's a doable thing. And the Eagles are known to make splashes and go get those good players.
No, yeah, absolutely. And he's only missed like 4 games over the last 2 years where you're starting to feel better about, can he stay on the field? Look, you don't mind it. And again, like you said, he just has to be healthy more than anything. January, February, bro. If he's healthy, then you and the Eagles have him for the whole playoffs, assuming that they make it. I mean, this is the move that they needed to make.
I agree. Um, so another winner I had kind of in the running back market is I think the Bears getting DeAndre Swift for it's a 3 year, $24 million deal. Without incentives, it's more like a 3 year, $15.5 million deal. Now, at first, being the first running back off the market, I hated it. I was like, why are we paying for Swift? I haven't been a huge fan of Swift. I think he had a good year in Philly, but obviously what he's working with. And I look at it and I go, as the day went on, I more and more was okay with the selection or signing because I realized like when you have Barkley and Jacobs going for about 12, $13 million a year, I'm okay with Swift at 6 to 8 million if he can provide that versatility in the backfield that the Bears don't really have. I mean, Khalil Herbert is a good rusher, but a natural pass catcher out of the backfield, I don't think they really have that now. And I think Swift can be that guy for them.
Oh, absolutely. And then the 5.5 yards per reception last season, to your point, and then also 4.6 yards per carry. So, I mean, you'll take that all day long. Like, again, it's not like the flashy sign in the world, but Pro Bowler last year, he runs well with the rock. He just got to stay healthy. Like, and he's always been one of those guys where when he was coming out of college that one year, I had him as my RB1. Like, I've always loved DeAndre Swift's running style. I think if the Bears can continue to bolster this line, he could be a really good little chess piece for you guys for a long time. It's just a matter of him staying healthy and you guys just keep him, bolstering that line. Because again, we
Also,
know it's not finished yet.
oh yeah, it shouldn't be at least. We don't know what polls right now. We'll get to that in
Yeah,
a
is
little
Cole
bit.
still asleep at Taco Bell?
Yeah, what the fuck is he doing? I think also another thing is it's more of like kind of a safety blanket for your rookie quarterback that's going to be coming in. You want to give him as many options as you can. I think Swift can be that guy. Um, Another winner, unfortunately for me as a Bears fan, is Aaron Jones to the Vikings, man. I don't have Josh Jacobs in here as a winner or a loser because I think they needed to replace him. But my thing is, I know Jones was a little bit more expensive and older. I don't know how much better Josh Jacobs is, and especially like in the pass game. So I think Aaron Jones, who is a monster, going to a backfield like Minnesota, who doesn't have a dominant number one running back. I don't think this is a Dalvin Cook scenario where, he's, doesn't have as much tread on the tires. I think Aaron Jones still has a lot in the tank.
No, I think as long again, it's back to both of them. They just have to stay healthy. I wouldn't be banking on either of them with my money personally. But to your point of what you're saying about the Packers, it's like they just replaced a guy who was already injury prone with another guy who's arguably now even more injury prone. It's like so yeah, to your point, and also they kind of were already with AJ Dillon, you're already on the power train, and it's like you kind of just double down on the power
Well,
train. I feel like
AJ
the
AJ
Packers have still
Dillon is
some.
a free agent now. I don't think
Well,
he's
that's okay.
back.
So, well, then, assumingly, then the Packers are going. That's right. Assumingly, the Packers are going to go running back in the draft because it's like I don't think this is just like the only thing. I think that this is more just like the AJ Dillon replacement. If I really think about it at this point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Did you have Josh Jacobs as a winner or a loser, or just kind of in the middle? I'm
Oh, I
kind of
had
in
him
the
as a
middle on
winner
it.
for
Oh,
himself
okay, okay,
personally, for sure.
okay.
But I don't. Yeah, to your point, I don't like the value for the Packers. I'll tell you a sneaky guy though, where I do like the value a lot, bro. Antonio Gibson on the 3-year deal to the Patriots.
Very cheap.
11.25 million deal, I believe total. I'm assuming, yeah, it would be per season, so total. And you know how I feel about Antonio Gibson. Kind of like utilized a little bit weird on the Commanders, inconsistent snaps, but I think again, versatile guy, and that's kind of the Patriots just need a versatile guy. You can use him in third down, you can use him on first down. I love Antonio Gibson personally. Again, back to the theme with the running backs, bro. Is he gonna be able to stay healthy? But if he can stay healthy, I love that value.
Yeah, I don't really love Antonio Gibson, but I think he is a good maybe number two back to Ramondre Stevenson. And you have to have somebody in that backfield. So it's like not if you want like a higher number two guy, Antonio Gibson can be your guy. Um, Kind of my last winner on here is Austin Eckler to the Commanders on a 2-year, $8.43 million deal. I think Eckler still has shit in the tank. I think last year was just a horrible scheme for him with the Chargers. I don't think they utilized him correctly. And to give a rookie quarterback a guy like Austin Eckler who can catch the ball, run, take it catch a screen and take it far. Like, I think for that value, it is a great addition to the Commanders.
See, yeah, no, I was gonna say I was gonna have the Commanders as a loser until I noticed the value. Because here's my thing: I'm just worried about how much burst Eckler's lost. I
Yeah,
agree with you that he
I don't
might
think the
still
burst is there.
like he definitely I do think still has something left in the tank, and I think he's one of those guys where he has kind of shown already, and he's going to like he'll kind of adjust his play style to what he has to do. He's a grinder, but so it's for this value, I don't mind it. But at the same time, if it was more, I would be like, oh Lord. But so that's kind of how I look at it. And if he ends up being a guy where they get a 4 yards out of you carry out of me, plays well in that scheme instead, I'm with you where it's like you got great value, and I don't mind that at all.
All right,
I
so
I was
go
gonna say,
ahead.
can I give you one loser
Oh,
though?
well, I still have, I believe I have a running back loser. So let's finish up the winners and then we'll go into losers.
Oh, okay, perfect,
Do you have
perfect.
any more running backs or no?
I was gonna say Zach Moss, low key winner for sure.
Not bad,
That
not
2 year deal
bad.
with the Bengals. If you're Zach Moss, fantastic value
Zach Moss and Chase
for
Brown, good
yourself to go
duo.
up and get more money because that I think he can produce well in that offense.
All right. Do you have any winning wide receivers? I know there really hasn't been much movement in the market. The only guy I had was Darnell Mooney.
I would say okay, so Mike Evans. I think you
Okay.
get to stay on the
Yeah.
team you already have the Hall of Fame resume with. That's a huge W to me. Also, Michael Pittman, bro. Michael
Yeah.
Pittman, major W on the resign. And I think it's pretty perfect value. Like, this is kind of the thing I think we've been saying we're going to start seeing teams trend towards. Like, really, like more guaranteed money, really high salary, but for not as long of a period of time. Because it's like, how long you're going to stay healthy? I'm not comfortable with that. But these 2, 3 year deals for tons of money, I'm all
It
for those, bro.
it works good for both sides. And I personally love the Pittman deal. I think he's worth that. I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence about him. I think he's ascending. I think he's a hometown guy. You have to pay him and keep him around. Why would you let that guy walk?
No, for sure.
All right, so if you don't have any more wide receivers, we can move into the tight ends. Um, just a quick one. I like the Gerald Everett deal to Chicago. You have an athletic move tight end next to Cole Kmet, who isn't the most fast. I like Cole Kmet a lot. I think he's really good, but I think adding like a good tight end behind him is good. Shane Waldron is the highest percentage usage of 13 personnel. So getting the tight end room built is good. And you have a little bit of versatility now with Everett and Cole Kmet. And also if you're able to maybe bring Mercedes Lewis back. Yeah, so I think it was a good pickup for, I think it was like 2 years, 14 million or something like that.
Well, I was trying to find the number for it. I'm scrolling right here.
No, I know it was like 2 years, 12 to 14 mil. So anywhere from
No,
6 to 7 mil a year.
I think too. I think what I think a low key winner for himself and the team. I think I like Noah Fant re-signing with the Seahawks.
Okay. I didn't have him as a
He
winner
didn't
or
get
a
utilized.
loser, but yeah.
No, yeah, as a winner, but because I like Noah Fant staying on the Seahawks. Maybe I don't know. The tight end market definitely is going up. Is one thing I'll say for the
Oh
guys that they
yeah.
feel like are starters because some of these guys are getting paid. Maybe how about yeah? I'll save my losers, but I was gonna say I don't want to spoil anything. But some of these teams, it's like man, I feel like they overspent a little bit.
I actually have a decent amount of tight end winners. Like I have Mike Gesicki signing with the Bengals. I think whenever tight end signs with the Bengals, they always end up getting paid whenever they leave. And I think Gesicki still has some in the tank. 1 year, $3.25 million deal to play with Joe Burrow,
Big dub for the Bengals.
big
Like
dub
that's
for the Bengals.
good value on both sides.
Another guy I had was Jonnu Smith to the Dolphins. I think for 2 years, $4.2 million a year, I think you get a pretty good tight end, and that's kind of something they have lacked. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they go for Brock Bowers in the draft, and then they beef up that tight end room even more. Then you're looking like maybe one of the best offenses in the league, minus the quarterback position.
No, I love the Jonnu Smith. I was going to say, I almost forgot about Jonnu, but for this value too, I think that Mike McDaniel might be able to get him really cooking. Back to just him staying healthy. He's one of those guys where he's got to be out there, but Jonnu Smith, man, if he can stay healthy out there, fantastic value.
Last kind of guy I had before we moved into like kind of the O line and defense, and I forgot to mention, you said Sam Darnold as a winner, right?
Oh, for sure. I had him as a
Oh, okay.
winner. No,
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Because I had him too, and I forgot to say my piece on it. Because I forgot I had him here. I put him out of order for some reason. I think he's a winner because, bro, regardless if you're getting replaced, you're gonna be playing with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and Aaron Jones. Like you have all the you can do. I don't think you will, but you can do what Baker did. You can get $100 million contract if you play well. Like, I don't think it'll happen. Probably about a 90% chance it won't, but there is a possibility.
oh no, dude, no doubt. That's the thing is, and that's all. Sometimes it's all it's about in free agency is when you get yourself in like a little short deal, right? It's just about finding yourself in a situation where you can bolster that money and get yourself a real long term deal next season.
All right, let's move into kind of the offensive line. I think the Rams getting Jonah Jackson and Kevin Dotson are both wins to me. Re-signing Kevin Dotson, signing Jonah Jackson from the Lions. Great. You beef up that interior and you are giving Stafford more protection. I mean, he's a little bit older. You don't want him getting hit. The guards, what I've noticed, have been getting paid this free agency.
Bro, no, as position groups, you can see which ones are going and which ones are rising and falling. Rams, as we more than anything, I think they're letting us know, look, we're still in on staff. You know what I mean? Like, I think that over the past couple years, it's kind of been like, what direction are they going? How are they handling staff? Look, I think for right now, Sean McVay said, I'm here. We're all in on staff, man. Like, I don't think they're thinking about any other directions, spending early round picks on quarterback. I think they're just going to stick with staff and keep going.
I think the
And
thing
how can you
too,
blame them?
no, I mean, I don't. And you know how we talked about how like teams are really prioritizing like that interior pass rush? I think that's
Well,
why
no,
we're seeing
again, league's
these
changing.
I think that's why we're seeing the guards getting paid more. They realize they need better protection on the interior of the O line. And if you're going to be focusing on these aggressive and really strong interior defensive linemen, you have to pay the guys that are going to be blocking them.
Nope, no doubt, bro. It's just like what the Panthers are doing too. Shout out to the Panthers, like same concept. Panthers are prioritizing what matters. You need to anchor down, especially when you got a guy like Bryce. I have the Panthers as huge winners this free agency, bro,
Really?
because what they're
Okay.
doing is what you. This is what I've always said. I don't think it's not always the signings that are flashy, right? It's the ones that really count. And when you're getting two long-term starting interior guys, that's already a great free agency. They could fall asleep like Poles did, do nothing, and that's a fantastic free agency, bro.
So do you have their guards as winners?
Oh, for sure. Both of them and the Panthers. Like it's
So
like if you're the Panthers, you have got to feel like you know what I mean? You're like if you're Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt, you have to feel like I mean this is you locked in long-term money, you went crazy, and if you're the Panthers, you're happy with it. I mean, like that's for both these guys, I really like two long-term starters, I do believe.
So I actually had Robert Hunt as or that not Robert Hunt as a loser, but the Panthers as a loser on the Robert Hunt signing, and I'll tell you why.
But I get that though. But I totally get it.
I'll tell you why because 20 million a year for a guard in an offense that got the ball out like very, very quickly. I don't think Robert Hunt is a bad guard, but what did we talk about all year last year? And the issue on the interior with the Seattle Seahawks and the Miami Dolphins. Now, they go and sign guys that were both part of that, whether that is exactly their problem or not, you can argue that. But I still think those are both teams that struggle on the interior. Maybe Seattle, I care less about. I care less about the Damian Lewis deal. I just think the Robert Hunt deal is so big. And when you have a quarterback that's getting the ball out so quickly, it's like, I'm not saying Robert Hunt's a bad player. I'm just saying it may have messed with the stats a little bit.
Well, no, and $20 million for anybody is definitely a lot of money. And that's they overpaid it.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that's
for
the
sure.
thing is where it's like I get it because they wanted to make sure they got somebody for Bryce. Like they knew that they couldn't have
I
another year
agree.
of life. And I
No,
definitely
yeah.
understand where they're coming from on that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to invest in your rookie because that is not what they did at all last year. Um, I think the Lions re-signing Graham Glasnow is good. Now you really just kind of have to worry about the other guard spot. Frank Ragnow, I believe, is returning, but you're going to have to really prepare for, when he leaves as your center. So I think that was a win by the Lions, at least getting one of their two guard spots back.
No, definitely because and you know how Dan Campbell is. He knows the trenches got to go first. The trenches matter. Yeah, they had to get Graham back. I'd say another big winner, bro. Nick Algoretti.
Mm.
Had to start for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Locked yourself up a 3-year, $16 million deal. I'm sure it's cuttable within however long. But regardless, that's another huge. We talk about a huge pay rate, huge opportunity he took. I mean, or taking advantage of. That's a great example right there. I'm happy he got paid. That was definitely a huge winner for it'll be up to be determined if the Commanders are a winner off of that one too. But definitely a huge winner personally on that one.
Yeah, completely kind of rebuilding their line. They re-signed Tyler Biadasz too. Or not
No,
re-signed,
yeah,
signed.
definitely kind of rebuilding the line over there for sure.
I think another winner I had I only have two more for the O line, and then I have a couple defensive winners, and then I don't have nearly as many losers as I did winners. I think a lot of teams did actually pretty well this free agency. Um, Mitch Morse with the Jaguars. 2 years. I know he's kind of getting older. He's had a little bit of injury history, but they got their guards re-signed. They signed a center. They got to worry a little bit about tackles, not anything crazy, but overall, they have done a very good job at securing the interior of the O line and getting Mitch Morse for basically $5.25 million a year. Not bad at all.
No, not bad at all. And you know someone else who definitely didn't do bad. Speaking of some centers, bro, Lloyd Cushenberry on the 4-year,
Interesting.
$50 million deal.
I
Huge payday for him. So, and I think this was again where somebody I thought maybe a bit of an overpay. But if you're the Titans,
mm,
I get it. It's the same situation. Like I get it. You know what? It can't be another thing of last year. You definitely need to protect Will Levis. I get it in that. I get it in that aspect.
So I'll talk about that trade. I don't have Lloyd Cushenberry as a loser or the Titans as a loser for that. I think I'm pretty like in the middle on the trade. I think it's an upgrade, but I'm not like I don't love it. But my kind of last guy that I have on offense is Mike Owenahu to the Patriots. I think that was a great re-signing by them. I think they really needed to solidify a tackle and getting him in there on that deal. It's a good payday, but it's not anything egregious. And if you're going to have a rookie coming back or coming in, you're going to want to know that you have a guy to protect him.
No, nothing egregious, and just on genuinely, bro, one of the most underrated linemen in the whole league. Just because a lot of like Patriots guys don't get a lot of shine in the past few years, just because they haven't, right? They've been on the big stage, nothing's been going for them that much. But Mike Onwenu, real ones to know. This has been one of these guys making an impact on the past last few years, and that's a huge signing for them. Definitely need to get some depth on the O line back. And so if you're a Pats fan, you're very happy with this.
So going to the defensive side of the ball, I think okay, so this was one of the questionable moves I saw by the Panthers. Frankie Louvu, 3-year, $31 million deal. I feel like that was very matchable for Carolina. And
No,
Frankie
for
Louvu has been
sure.
a really good player for them, and it's very questionable, and the deal's very reasonable. So I don't
It
understand why
is.
they kind of let him go.
No, I'm
So
with you a
winner for
thousand
the
percent. I
Commanders,
have
but
zero
loser for
clue
the
either.
Panthers on that.
No, 100%. Huge W for Frankie Louvu, though, and the Commanders, because that's fantastic value for the Commanders.
So another winner I had was Blake Cashman to the Vikings on a 3-year, $22.5 million deal. I think the way
Dub to the
Blake,
Vikings, too,
bro,
man.
the Vikings have been loading up this offseason. They've been doing a really, really good job in using that cap space that they didn't have to spend on Kirk. Um, and Cashman, I mean, I another winner you could put is Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. Like they are all good additions to that defense. Now, my thing is, I like Grenard. And I think he'll be good for the Vikings. But if he's not rushing next to an alpha rusher like Will Anderson, are you going to see the same results?
No, and that's the thing exactly. Like I feel like this is what we're gonna see if last year was because of you know what I mean, Grenard, or if it was because of Anderson. It'll be the litmus test this year. We're gonna find out for sure. Because like they're not getting Daniil Hunter back. Where's Daniil gonna go? That's still the next thing we're waiting to find out. Another huge winner that just happened today, bro. Patrick Queen to the Steelers. Huge W for both sides
Interesting.
also. Because if you're the
Okay.
Steelers, you need a linebacker, and if you're Patrick Queen, 3 years, $41 million deal. You'll take that all day long with the way the linebacker market is heading. So it's huge W on both sides.
So I actually had Pat before we get into my last defensive guy, all right, and then if you have any more defensive winners, I actually had Patrick Queen or the Steelers as a loser on this deal. I don't like it because I think
See,
you're
I'm interested to
paying.
talk about this though.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're paying. I think Patrick Queen is a fine player. I think he's okay. I don't think he's worth that money. And I don't know if we really started to see him shine until Roquan got to the Ravens. I don't know if he can be that number one linebacker.
No, and that's hey, look, that's a completely fair take though, because you are spot on. That is right when he started coming into his own. I'm just an LSU homer for him more than anything, bro. But jokes aside, no, I mean, look, if he can come in though and still be that alpha guy, you gotta love the value, right? If you're the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a very telling year for that contract.
Same litmus test. Same litmus
Same
test
litmus
incoming, bro.
test. Last guy I had was Aziz Al-Shahir to the Texans on a 3-year, $34 million deal. I really like what the Texans have done on defense, but I'm very kind of concerned kind of about what their D line is going to look like next year. So I like upgrading at the linebacker position, especially if you're going to lose Blake Cashman. But I think they really need to make a splash on like a Daniil Hunter here in free agency.
No, I hear you on that. I definitely would agree with you on that. I got a win here. I want to just say just real quick because yeah, and I don't think you're gonna have him, and he's just a sleeper too, bro. Nobody's really talked about this one, but Zach Bond to the Eagles on the 1 year, $3.5 million deal.
Okay.
I'm not exaggerating when I say, look, and this is not like a crazy number or something outlandish, but just when you look at his career stats, you'd be like, what is this guy saying right now? I think Zach Bond could go to the Eagles next year and be like a 9+ sack season guy. And everyone will kind of be like, oh shit, like this Zach Bond guy. Like, why did the Saints let him go? Well, because the Saints didn't start utilizing him the right way, where he is a pass rusher, drafted him as a pass rusher, played him as an off-ball linebacker for 3 years. And then finally last year, Mickey was, or however, that Dennis Allen was like, oh, wait, let's use how we drafted him. I would look. I think he's going to go, and he was providing value for us when he was out there this year, bro. I think that he could be a sneaky, get a huge payday next year kind of guy.
Very possible. I mean, the Eagles need all the help they can get at linebacker. So if they're going to
Yeah,
take a
they
shot
do.
at him, not a bad move. Do you got any more winners you want to talk about, or are you ready to move into the losers?
No, I'm definitely ready to move into the losers here, bro.
All right. We'll start out with the biggest deal. I think the Christian Wilkins deal to the Raiders is a loser deal. I think it's a loser deal. And I think that D line
For
is
the
going to
Commanders, or be for the
for the
Raiders, because
Raiders.
it's definitely not for Christian.
Bro, it's not a loser because look at this. 4-year, $110 million deal. Okay. In 2025, Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, and Christian Wilkins are going to be eating 36% of the cap. 36%, 106 million to Christian
No
Wilkins,
cap left for the O
Devontae
line,
Adams,
bro.
and Crosby. What are we doing? What are we doing?
No cap left for the O line.
I believe this line is going to be disgusting, but at what cost? If you're going to get a young quarterback in there, get a rookie in there in the next 2 years, How do you build? How do you build? How do you build? You
You have
have
to
to hit on
hit
your
on
draft
every
picks.
fifth and fourth round draft pick and hope that you get like it's not viable. Like you basically have to hope you're getting literally the ultimate sleeper lineman every draft, and that just doesn't happen.
I just I don't know how much, in my opinion, this raises the floor for the Raiders. Like I think it makes their defensive line amazing. I do. But like how much does this raise the win total for the Raiders? Seriously.
Well, it's the thing is too, when you have a young quarterback in there and you don't already have the line set, you know how I feel about when that happens. So we're already trending towards a few things that maybe are not too favorable for the Raiders in multiple directions. That's the friendliest way to say it, right? But at least they got AP.
At least, but see, like this strikes me as like a win now, AP Tom Telesco type of move. Like it doesn't strike me as something that's going to work long term. I don't know. Very
No, then that's
frustrating.
that, and back to the point of he's already 28 years old, right? Wilkins is already 28. So you never know with guys, right? They could fall off when they're 29, he could fall off when he's 36, but we don't know. And when you give a guy that much money when you're already potentially entering a range where the fall off could start being really steep, just all around doesn't smell of it being a good deal. But hey, let me be clear. We could be so wrong on this one, and this could be one of those banger moves you look back on in a few years and you're like,
Could be.
wow, that was one of the moves that really got helped the Raiders compete with the Chiefs. Who knows? But I stand with you right now, bro.
I got another loser. Gabe Davis to the Jaguars. Dude,
Oh, well, how about a loser for the Jaguars?
bro, I love the Jags, but they are genuinely one of the most confusing fucking organizations. I don't understand their moves at
Frustrating
all. I don't
organizations.
understand their drafts. I don't, it just makes zero fucking sense. Like, I understand you don't want to give up the second for Calvin Ridley. I think he'll be back, but realistically, would you rather have Gabe Davis or would you rather have Hollywood Brown?
Can I choose fourth round rookie receiver over Gabe Davis?
I mean, it's just like,
Just, bro,
dude, like,
I'm not like I don't have anything against him personally, but I'm just saying, and this is how I've always viewed it. Look, this is just the facts at this point. Past his first season, I'll say Gabe Davis far too matchup dependent. Like if you're taking him long term in any scenario, it's not. I don't like Gabe Davis in many playoff matchups. I don't like it. I don't like it's just he has shown multiple times, unfortunately, that he's just way too inconsistent.
okay, I
If he
asked this
goes to
question.
Jacksonville,
Yeah, go
turns
ahead.
it around, then credit to him. But as of right now, bro, especially for 11 million a season off the cap, absolutely. Just I don't.
For,
I'm with you. The Jaguars are just so confusing.
for the exact same price, are you taking Darnell Mooney or are you taking Gabe Davis? Because I'm taking Mooney.
I'm taking 3/4 of Mooney.
Like, I
He
just,
could show
bro,
up. He could show up without one of his arms, and I'm taking Mooney, bro. I'm not like I don't mean. I'm sorry. Like the Gabe Davis disrespect only comes from him selling me in fantasy from being my fourth overall pick or fourth round pick when we started our league like 3 years ago. But it's like jokes aside, bro. I'm serious. Like I don't know what the Jaguars are doing.
and it's like, okay, let's say they bring Calvin Ridley back. Calvin Ridley, Gabe Davis, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. Not bad guys. None of them are horrible. But who is the alpha receiving option in there? Who is the number one guy? There is no like dominant receiver in that room.
When Kirk is healthy, though, it's like he's a guy, but now it's back to Kirk's back in that same boat. How healthy are you going to stay for me?
I just man, the Jaguars are so infuriating. It's like they had such great potential 2 years ago. And it's like you have squandered it. You've squandered it. It makes zero
Yeah,
sense.
the squandering started when they skipped on Aiden Hutchinson. That is definitely the moment we can pin it right back to.
Yeah,
And
it
again,
was a
not
tough
that
moment.
like Trayvon Walker is literally exactly what I thought he was. He's a still very talented player on a defense. It's just he wasn't the first overall pick. He was like supposed to be like the 10th pick. And now he's getting too much pressure on him and all this scrutiny he doesn't even deserve. It's not his fault. It's
It
just
it's bad, man.
it's rough.
Another loser I had was Brian Burns. I think he got paid, but here's my thing.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one, bro.
So
I
I,
haven't forgot to say him,
I
but
think
I think I love it, bro. So let's. I want to hear
hmm,
what you say first.
I think it's a loser for the Panthers, and I think it's a loser for the Giants. I think it is a trade where both teams lose. Here's why it is a losing trade. You paid Dexter Lawrence, okay? You just paid Brian Burns. You are going to have to pay Kayvon Thibodeau. You've paid Andrew
For the Raiders
Thomas.
2.0.
You don't have you have Daniel Jones. You don't know what the future at quarterback is looking like. Darren Waller is one of your highest played players, and so is Darius Slayton. Are either of those guys good offensive players? You, now, like, are they guys that teams are wanting on their team? I don't know that they are. You let Saquon Barkley go. Where is the money on the offense? If you are going to put a young quarterback in there, how are they supposed to succeed? All this money
Who
going
is
into the defense.
at this point, again, it leans toward either being Drake May or Jane Daniels. Do you want either of them behind that O line right now, bro? Let me just raise that question
But do
first of
you
all.
think
Like,
the
it's like
Giants even
there's
have a chance to get the top three quarterbacks? I think they're in JJ McCarthy range.
that's you know what, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Giants do something egregious and like trade up. But that's the thing to your point. I don't like you all your capital, they're the Raiders 2.0. It's all invested in the D line. So where do you go from here when you have no stability minus Andrew Thomas?
It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I get it. Like, you traded a 2 and a 5 for Robert or Brian Burns, right? You got a 2 and a 5 for Leonard Williams. So it is what it is. Like, you can basically say you got the rights to sign Brian Burns. That's fine. But I don't know. Is Brian Burns a 5-year, $141 million player? Is he a tier one edge?
In the right, this is the thing. I like him much more in the Giants scheme. So I'll admit I am very excited to see him on this defense.
Okay.
But regardless, I don't know, bro. I think that it's tough for him to match that value. He's gonna have to be a 10 plus sack every year guy. And I don't know. I think, and I'll always say this, I always go back to it. You want to build the O line before you build the D line. And the Giants are going a complete opposite way about my philosophy. It'll be interesting to see how it goes for him.
They did sign a guard, I believe. But it's just like, I don't know. I mean, like, to me, this, like, what do you do with Evan Neal? Like, is Evan Neal a guy going forward? Like, I don't know. The Giants are
I
confusing.
think you give him another year, but if he blows it this upcoming year, you either have to start experimenting and just see if somehow he ends up being a guard in the NFL, which you never would have projected with obviously the initial when he came out, like the measurements and everything. I don't know. You start experimenting after this year if he sucks again. Just to be frank, and every Giants fan knows it's unfortunate he had a very rough year last year. Not to harp on the man. It's just the reality of right now. But if he can turn it around, you're not in the worst situation in the world. But then again, it's like, is it likely that he turns it around after last year? Not necessarily. And you're 4 out of 5 positions where you have no depth at the O line. It's like you're not in a good position.
Another loser I have is Aaron Brewer to the Miami Dolphins. We talked about it kind of last year, the interior issues with the offensive line, and you are basically letting Connor Williams go. I know he had an ACL tear, but Connor Williams, in my opinion, is a better center than Aaron Brewer. And the Titans upgraded to Lloyd Cushenberry, who was kind of mid and then had a really good year last year. So it's like the Titans upgraded, the center position was an issue, and you fill it with the guy who got replaced on a team that had one of the worst O lines last year. I know it's only 7 million a year, but it just is kind of weird to me.
Well, no, and we know it again. The Dolphins owner not afraid to spend money, but maybe sometimes a little bit too willing to spend money when he doesn't need to spend it. And I think this might be a case where this would have probably just been better need filled through the draft or however you want to go about it. But I guess more than anything, let's look at it this way. Let's say that they still want to fill it in the draft. Now you have good depth. Maybe that's how they're going about it.
Yeah, 7 mil for a center though is kind of like a lot in depth. But I could be
It
wrong.
is.
I don't know. I just didn't love it. We already talked about um Robert Hunt. We already talked about Patrick Queen. Running back loser, Tony Pollard. 7-year or 3-year, $24 million deal, pretty much the same as the DeAndre Swift deal. I think a lot of teams are probably taking DeAndre Swift over Tony Pollard. I think the issue with Pollard is he's probably played his best football already. And at $8 million a year, I don't really necessarily know if he's worth it. I know he's one of the best pass protecting backs in the league, and maybe they want him to protect Will Levis. But for $8 million, I don't necessarily love it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% where there was definitely much better value outside of what they gave him. And back to the whole like the Titans don't really have an O line going for them. They don't like what we always say, what's the point of a team signing a running back when you're not even immediately competing? Like just break it down for me real quick. I'd love to, it's like what's
I
the
agree.
point? Like this is like a premier candidate for like what's the point signing?
I mean, you have Cushionberry. Oh my God. The Texans are signing Daniil Hunter. That's
No,
all
I
right.
thought
Hold
the
on.
Saints were really gonna snag him,
So
bro.
so let's talk about this real quick. So this is a winner.
Yo, CJ Stroud, bro.
This is a winner.
DJ's getting them a ring.
2-year, $49 million deal with 48 guaranteed.
Yo, no, they both no,
They're a
that's
winner.
that deal, such a W on both sides. This was what we were just talking about, bro. We're crystal ball. More
We're a winner.
guaranteed money, shorter time.
So live, we're breaking the.
They were listening. The Texans were tapping the phones.
So let's add that to our winners list, and then we'll get back to our losers. Pairing Daniil Hunter with Will Anderson is going to be crazy. Now, if they're able to add Jerzon Newton or like a Byron Murphy on the
I was gonna
interior,
say, imagine
that
the
line is
hold on. Like I'm just throwing
disgusting.
this. I'm getting excited and throwing hypotheticals out. What if they just somehow were able? Like I don't. That's the thing. No, they're not gonna have the capital. They're not gonna have the capital. But I'll just say if they found a way to get up there, trade up and get Byron Murphy, but they just don't have the capital. I'm just getting excited for them now. But like that would be literally the scariest D line in the league, maybe instantly.
Oh, that's
Not even trying to
nuts.
jump the gun, but Texans fans, you guys kind of went ballistic.
Now the Bears are fucked. Anyway,
Is Pohl still asleep?
oh, we'll get to the poll slander. It's coming.
Oh
Now
no.
a loser I have is Xavier McKinney. Not for him, but for the Packers. 4 year, $60-70 million deal. I think McKinney is a great guy. Or a great player, and I would have loved him to have him on the Bears. Maybe not the price point. I think it's a little bit more of a loser because how much money? I think it was 48 million. Hold on, let me see. 48 plus 67. So the Packers spent $115 million on free safety and running back. That
Yeah,
to
see, like,
me is
well,
just
that's what
like,
I
I don't
wanted.
know. Like, it's just weird.
No, see, this it wouldn't have been bad, bro, if it wasn't for the Josh Jacobs thing. That's I want to be clear. Xavier McKinney actually really earned that bag. Like he really is
Oh,
one of
I
the best
agree.
safeties in the league. And you actually like where you're getting you get real versatility with McKinney. Like you can bring him in the box and he's a hell of a player in the box. And he's also a hell of a player when he's playing with range. Like you actually are getting real versatility. So I get where the Packers are coming from with getting him. It's just why the Jacobs move on top of it? The money would have been so much better somewhere else. But if I'm a Packers fan, I actually don't mind. Like I don't. It's definitely a huge W for McKinney. Yeah, for the Packers, the value may be a little bit of an overpay, but they also need a safety so bad. Let's say that they take Nubin in the draft. Like, hey, all of a sudden, the Packers defense is kind of terrifying.
So yeah, I mean that would be nice. I really wanted McKinney on the Bears. So it's not necessarily a bad signing. It's more about the $115 million committed over the next 3 to 4 years to non-premium positions. That is
No,
kind of
that
where
is. I
my
completely
issue
get
is.
that.
I think McKinney is a great player and probably was the top safety out there, honestly. So you do get two good players for the Packers. It's more about the money spent in non-premium positions. Um, I only have three more losers. I have Devin Singletary to the Giants on a 3 year, $16.5 million deal. $5 million a year, 5.25, $5.3 million a year to Devin Singletary. I know he had a good year with the Texans last year, but I don't know, man. I just am not a fan of Singletary at all. And
Well, it's more like the money would have been better elsewhere. It's not, you know what
yeah,
I mean? It's not
yeah.
like it's like terrible. It's just more like we're saying, and capital, you know how it is, bro. It's hard to come by, and that's more than anything. Like we always say, why not just get the running back in late rounds? You're paying him already, literally like a fourth of what you were going to be paying to Devin Singletary. Why not just go about that route instead?
Yeah, I don't know. I did not love that signing. It was really weird. I have not ever been a fan of Singletary. Um, one of my losers is Will Lutz, and not Will Lutz. It's for the Jaguars. The fact that you probably got one of the best kickers in the game, and the Broncos came back and stole him away from you. If I'm the Jaguars, I'm sick as
You know,
fuck.
Sean was on the phones, bro.
Bro, what he was like, Will, what can we do to make it work? We got to bring you back. I traded for you. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know why. Like The Jaguars just got screwed in that situation.
No, yeah. How about this? I'll say potential loser, but then also, I'm not gonna lie. It also this could end up being in my face in a couple years because I could see him actually going crazy on the D line and then completely revitalizing his career. But for the value what he's produced already in his career, giving Yuta Gross Matos the $9 million a season on a 2-year deal, I don't know if I love that value. But he again, this could be one where it blows up and he ends up going crazy and fits way better in that Niners scheme.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like mixed feelings on that one.
Okay. My last, do you have any players left in your losers category? Because I have kind of like a weird one for my last loser.
No, I really honestly didn't have that many losers. Like I don't I'm looking over. I don't think though. I'll make sure, but I don't think so. So say yours in the meantime.
All right. My last loser, and this is where the poll slanders comes, is the Bears and the JF1 trade market. I am
No.
genuinely so confused what is happening because they have talked about openly shop. They've pretty much openly been shopping him. And I don't think the Bears got what they wanted. And I also think they're kind of hesitant because they haven't got Caleb's medicals. But my thing is, if you are not going to roll with Justin next year, which you can't. And the Dolphins are signing Bill's safety, Jordan Poyer. Not a bad signing. I don't have the details on it, but they need help in the
That's a
secondary.
great signing for them.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit of winner there. But you know you're not rolling into next year with Justin Fields. So regardless of Caleb's medicals, you're drafting a quarterback. So my thing is,
No,
why would you
I don't want
not,
to get started on this.
bro? It's like they definitely had a better deal on the table than they have now, and they could probably got greedy. And what my thing is, the report that came out yesterday talk about how Justin Fields hasn't been shopped. Then Rappaport came out and said they're basically said they're shopping him. So it's like I feel like a lot of this is smokescreen for polls because he mishandled the situation horribly. His value is way down now, and they cannot get what they want. So they're like, we weren't even shopping him. That's why. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? This is horrible.
No,
This is horrible.
it makes it makes no sense because here's what I'm going to say. Let's play devil's advocate and say like, oh yeah, like they definitely haven't chopped him. Okay, then that just leads me to believe that the Bears are way more inept with this regime than I thought that they were, and that's not a good scenario either.
It's
Like
very
even in the best case,
questionable.
even in the best case scenario, it's not good.
Mm-mm. No,
Like
it's
that's
not.
and that's where this is getting really frustrating, bro. Because I do feel like it's kind of starting to really frustrate me. Has the theme of the past two off seasons at this point so far for this? If they somehow fuck this up, bro, and it's like the fact that I even have to question, are you guys going to take Caleb? It's like if it was anybody at this point besides the Bears, I would be like, no, there's no way they find a way to fuck this up. But it's like, what are the Bears doing, bro? They're starting to worry me a little bit here.
It's so crazy because like the whole league is telling you that they view him as a backup. Like I don't buy the well, they know you're taking a quarterback, so the value's down. Bro, if Justin Herbert was on the fucking trade market, teams would be blowing up your phone. Like they're telling you that Justin Fields is a backup. Darnell Mooney just got a $13 million a year contract. Luke Getzey got hired as another offensive coordinator. Like the league is telling you what they think of Justin Fields. There's no way
If
you're
you
running
even
it
have
back with him.
No, to your point, bro, if you even have time to assess like how high or low is this person's value, bro, the value's not that high. Because to your point, if the second they hit the market, if the value is that high, teams aren't going to be waiting to see which other team is. Let's see how high. Then we'll no. They're going to say, "Fuck that. We need him on our roster, bro. I'm not playing around with that shit."
Now he's
You have
probably going
teams
to go to the
overshooting.
he's going to go to the Seahawks for like a fifth. Like realistically,
I would say I do see it being a fourth, but a fifth would be just crazy at this point, bro.
fourth or
But I
fifth,
also
but I do believe they probably had like a third, maybe a second and a sixth on the table, and they probably passed it up. They probably
yo,
passed it up.
I'm with you on that 1,000%. I think that's probably about exactly what they would have passed up.
Whoa, big signing. Saints are signing Willie Gay.
Yo, I'm rocking with it though. Low key. We need linebacker depth, bro. I need to hit Connor up. I know Connor's geeking, bro.
So that is kind of my last. Those are all my winners and losers. Do you have any more you want to talk about, or should we wrap this up?
No, nothing more than I'll wrap it up with saying too before I'll let you wrap it up. More than anything, hashtag rework the franchise tag, man. Let's
Yeah, I don't like it.
hashtag rework the friend. The franchise tag is for, especially in the modern day. I don't know. I don't like the franchise tag. I know these athletes don't like it. Hashtag get rid of the franchise tag, man.
Awesome. Well, all right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know your favorite free agency signing, your least favorite free agency signing, the biggest winners and losers, and leave a like. We're growing this channel every day. We couldn't be doing it without you. Also, we'll probably do another free agency video, like grading all this stuff. We just wanted to kind of address what's going on so far. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your night. We really appreciate it.